What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reddit Red. Today we read some of the unpopular opinions from Reddit's subreddit called, well, Unpopular Opinions. Let's get right into the posts. This one's posted by user IHateMath6788, and it's titled, Making Your Bed is a Fucking Waste of Time. I'll admit, I'm not the tidiest person in the world. I honestly find the process of making your bed an infuriating waste of time that seems to be the norm because it looks nice. I really don't know. I think tidying up bed sheets and such provides no benefit. In fact, I find it easier to get in a messy bed than I do to get into a neat one. So really, unless you're trying to look tidy for guests, I find this task to be a complete waste of time. I'm a little bit on the fence about this one because I do agree, but I don't agree because there is something really weird about putting a blanket over the bed and just making it look decent. But that could be from years of being brainwashed by the big bed industry. This next one's posted by user Insane Eraser, and it's titled, Alcohol is a hard drug. I don't have much more to say. Review all the loose and or precise definitions of what a hard drug is. This might be a fact more than an opinion, but too many people believe alcohol is no big deal. It's a hell of a drug, hands down. Now, I have to agree with OP here. Without knowing all the politics of it, but looking at it from a high level, I think it's crazy that alcohol is actually glorified when you use it. Not to mention all the money and police work that goes into solving problems caused by it. This next one's posted by user I Get the Bag, and it's titled, Your past abuse does not give you the right to be an asshole to everyone. Too many people use their past traumas and abuse as an excuse to act like an asshole to others. I met someone recently, and upon getting to know the person better, they began telling me that sometimes they become aggressive and accusing, and that sometimes they'll lash out at me. Yes, I know, there are red flags, and I backed out. This person told me these things would be unavoidable, as her past abuse made her the way she is, and that if I question it, I do not respect her or what she went through. Abuse, regardless of what kind, is generally very difficult to deal with emotionally and can take a toll on an individual. However, your past situations have nothing to do with me. I'm irrelevant in this matter, and treating me poorly because of what you went through just makes you an asshole. I 100% agree with OP here, and it sucks that the person was self-aware enough to know they had shortcomings, but instead of trying to fix them, they basically let it define them and didn't work on themselves, and it eventually pushed OP away. I'm starting to think that these aren't that unpopular, or I'm just really unpopular too. This next one's posted by user Mike Jones 99501, and it's titled, For-profit hospitals asking for donations now can go fuck themselves. Just like the airlines that didn't save for a rainy day, but instead gave fat bonuses to executives, for-profit hospitals can go fuck off. Their administration that maximizes profits by minimizing safety and people, ownership needs to be given to the government. They won't hesitate to gouge you at the ER in your time of crisis for a 2-hour wait to see a doctor for 10 minutes just to be given a $100 Advil and a go home and rest. Now they ran out of PPE stock and can't even take care of their employees with safety equipment. I don't mind donating to a doctor and nurses, but first the administrators have to be held accountable. I agree with OP 100%, especially on the accountability. And I think with this whole pandemic and people losing their jobs, I think it's going to change the way the US actually looks at healthcare. I'm hoping. Just like any stock investor would tell you, don't have all your eggs in one basket. For your job to hold your financial well-being and your health, it's a little risky. This next one's posted by user RedderHunt, and it's titled, If I put the time and effort to do the work, I am damn sure going to remind the teacher that we had homework to turn in. I see a lot of people get hate when they remind the teacher of a certain quiz or a homework assignment that the teacher forgot to collect. I say screw you for not doing it or not studying well enough to even be prepared for a quiz. If the homework was worth $5, I don't care if you don't want to get yours, but I for damn sure am going to collect my $5. The $5 is a metaphor for the grade you will receive. This next one's posted by user just trying to do better, and it's titled, Strict or protective parenting is often child abuse and should be treated as such. My parents, particularly my dad, were extremely strict with me growing up and still are towards me today. I'm in my early 20s. I wasn't allowed to have sleepovers, go to school dances or football games, date, etc. I wasn't allowed to participate in cheerleading even though I was extremely good at it, and could only participate in activities my parents approved of, which I happen to have no interest nor talent in. I was essentially forbidden from being myself. I became extremely isolated as it was very difficult to make friends when I couldn't participate in any activities to make friendships. I was even bullied for it sometimes. My parents are foreign, so growing up in a place where I already stood out, I live in Midwestern USA. Being forcibly excluded from things by my parents made fitting in even more difficult. My parents said they wouldn't let me do these things because they cared about me. They still say if they didn't care, they would have just let me do whatever I wanted. I suffer from lasting effects of this shit parenting, and I think this should be considered child abuse. Fuck cultural differences. If you're going to move to a different place, you should not forbid your child from participating in the culture they live in. Social isolation is a known form of emotional abuse. A parent doing it to their child is no exception. It has lasting psychological effects. Schools and even DHS should be able to intervene. This next one's posted by user LexerGamer, and it's titled, I hate how April Fools makes the internet unusable for a day. Everything is filled with false information or quirky businesses trying to share a joke with people. New information has come out, April Fools. Load up a website and it's become unusable, April Fools. Oh damn, that thing you love had just made an announcement and you're now excited, April Fools. Time zones make it worse, so you end up dealing with double the time instead of just one day you're awake. The worst part is that because it's the internet, it is there forever. Researching for an assignment or trying to find information, hope you don't stumble across that post from April 1st a few years ago from what is usually a reputable site because you're gonna look like an idiot. It can be fun with friends, but as usually whenever something is adopted by a mass community or business, it instantly makes everything worse. I agree with OP on that last part. It's always super cringy when businesses try to adopt like memes or special things going on the internet. This next one's posted by user Metal Meme Lord, and it's titled, Owning physical copies of media, games, music, etc. is better than owning it digitally. Obviously, there's pros and cons to both, but I think physical has more pros than digital. For example, you don't have to worry about forgetting your PSN login if you have all your games on a disc. I'm going to definitely disagree with this one, but like you said, there is pros and cons to it, but I think it's highly subjective to your situation or your personality. This one's posted by Toby Varlin, and it's titled, There's a huge gender-based double standard around alcohol and family. As a dad, I'll be the first to say that my wife is a hero when it comes to dealing with our middle school kids. Our kids are great, but being unexpectedly thrust into school at home is enough to stress anybody out. Having said that, it's amazing how full my social media is of women talking about needing wine to get through their quarantine with their kids, or how today they've moved on from wine to vodka. In my experience, it's not just one or two women, but many women talking, joking about how there's no way they could stock up on enough wine to keep their sanity through this quarantine. As a man, if I were publicly to say or joke that I would definitely need a beer in order to keep my sanity around my kids, I think the reaction would be different. When a mom needs wine, it's treated understandably and funny. But when a dad needs beer, bourbon, etc., he has a problem. I personally don't drink, though I don't have anything against it. I think anybody who needs alcohol to get through their day has a problem. I personally don't drink, though I don't have anything against it. I think anybody who needs alcohol to get through their day has a problem. But I really think it's interesting how I feel like it's more okay for a woman to joke about it. I 100% agree with this, and I see it all out. And I think that the whole wine thing has now become the new don't talk to me before I have my coffee type meme. I don't know if it's new or if I just haven't noticed it before, but it's definitely not cool. This next one's posted by user Random Jimbo, and it's titled, Stereotypes are there for a reason, and that's okay. But with individuals, you always need to assume they're the exception to that stereotype. Look, if stereotypes wouldn't have at least some truth to them, they wouldn't exist. Groups of people with the same background, interests, hobbies, religion, gender, etc. tend to have similar characteristics. Though when meeting a person who seemingly belongs with a certain stereotype, you should always assume that they do not meet the criteria of said stereotype. You should never treat someone differently because of predispositions. And on that heavy one, guys, we're going to end it here. I want to say thank you to all who have shown support recently with feedback, and liking, and subbing. If you liked any of the posts read today, please feel free to visit the original conversation via the links in the description. Let me know your opinions in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time on Reddit Red.